Okay, this is going to be another franc and snaelda style fly. So this time it's on a 19mm Sean Stanton signature tube. So push your liner in, and at the back end just burr the liner and pull it down tight to the back of your brass ridge at the back, and then cut your liner, leave yourself about 3/4 of an inch to work with on it so you can finish with a cone head. So at this point I'm going to push a bit of a silicone tubing onto the back of it. Just push it on tight over it and then cut it to sit. So I'm going to cut it about there. So you're left with that. Push it onto your tube fly tool, onto your needle, and then plump into your tube fly tool. Tighten it down so it can't move. And now we're ready to tie it. So I'm just going to use uni thread in white. So I just like to start here and take a wee bit of this ridge or this step down out, building up the thread just at the base of the brass. You can take it out a wee bit with materials too. I just like to take it out a tiny bit first. So once you do that, head up to the last groove in your tube and trim away your waste piece. For this fly I'm going to use orange and yellow bucktail. So cut a piece of yellow and a piece of orange, and it doesn't really matter, you can tie the orange at the top or the bottom, and then whatever colour you use the opposite colour on either the top or bottom. So take a pinch of orange, roughly line your tips up, and you're happy that the tips are reasonably level. Set them on top of your tube, and I like to roll them halfway around so that it comes halfway down each side, and then just tighten up. And for your next bit, cut a section of yellow bucktail, the same sort of amount, and do the same thing. Line your tips up. So there's a bunch of yellow. So you just roughly line the tips up. These don't have to be perfect. And these get tied in below. So if you can, rotate your vise, and I like to put a split in the bucktail, and this gets me half either side of the tube fly tool. Just get it so it's the same length as your orange, and 2 loose turns allows you to position your bucktail. So just push it up to meet your orange, and once you're happy with where it's sitting, tighten it up and wind down the body of it. So we've got orange at the top and yellow at the bottom, and you can trim away at your waist at a slight angle. Keeps the taper on the body. And just tidy up your stub ends. At this point you can put in a bit of flash, so I'm going to put in a couple of strands of, this is the crinkle flash. So I'm going to tie a strand on my side and then fold it over, tie a strand on the opposite side, trim at the length of the tail, and then I'm going to tie in another strand on this side, and I'm going to fold the waist end onto my side. So you have 2 strands each side. You can also put crystal hair or whatever you want in it. Say this is just for this particular fly, I'm using the crinkle flash. Next up for me is this is a zonker strip, and it's barred black and orange, and it has a yellow base to it. So cut yourself a strip out of this, because this is like a super snaelda basically. Just cut yourself a wee strip off. Depending on the size of the fly, this is about, the skin on it is about 1.5 inches at the bottom, and I cut one end into a taper for tying it in, and I also cut the back into a slight taper just to take the, or just square end on it. I just taper it in, just basically take the 2 corners off, so it's almost on a point, just like that. See how it's on a point, and then just gently moisten it. That pulls any of your loose hairs out, and tie it in at the back. So you have something that looks like that. This is quite a gaudy fly, but I think they do work. Just tie that in nice and tight, and then at the back I'm going to tie in a black hackle. So take one from the back of a Chinese cock cape, a nice soft black. If I can get one, I've used all these for feelers. That one might do it there. I'll just break another cape. So it's a black Chinese feather, and tie it in with the tip at the side. And also I'm going to need 4 feelers, which of course I have not stripped, so I'm going to pull these off a cape very quickly. 4, they're off a Brahma Polish Rooster cape, so bear with me till I strip these. I'm going to do 2 at a time. So you can use whatever feathers you want as long as they're reasonably long. So it gets rid of, if you don't tie big flies, it gets rid of all the big feathers at the back that you don't normally use, so at least you're going to use them up one way or another. There's 2 stripped, and strip these other 2. Should have prepared myself a bit better, but there we go, there's 4 done. So basically these are a badger dyed blue, so tie one in at the bottom on my side, and then one in at the top on my side, and then I'm going to tie in one at the top on the side nearest the camera, and then one on the bottom on the side nearest the camera. These are much quicker to tie if you have your hackles pre-stripped, your stalks pre-stripped. So bind those in nice and tight and trim away the tip of the hackle. At this point I'm just going to wind a couple or 3 turns of this black hackle on at the back. Just going to butt the thread tight up against the zonker strip, like so. Focus this camera in. There we go. And fold the hackle on at the back. Say 2 or 3 turns, whatever you can get out of your. It's 2, there until you come into the very soft fibres. So I'm going to tie it off at 2.5 turns and trim away your waste. And at this point I would come down the body just to tidy it up a bit. So come right down your body, tying everything in nice and neatly. Oh, snap the thread. It's a good job of another spare bobbin here. So just start your thread again. Once you're happy that it's tidied up, go right up to the back again. At this point I'm going to wind it's a light braid or hairline dubbin in holographic silver, ice dub. So I'm going to take a good pinch of it because the rear body on a Kinermoney killer is silver. So dub it onto your thread and wind sort of halfway up your tube, get it caught in, and then you can tighten it up. Make sure you're right up tight against the hackle at the back and begin to wind down. And put a wee bit more of your ice dub on. Until you're, say, approximately halfway down the body. And you get to that point. For this part, the rib, I'm going to tie in a length of, it's a braid and it is holographic silver again, so I'm going to tie this in. And for the body, this is Sean Stanton's chenille in black, so this is for the front part of the body. So I'm going to tie that in. I head right down to till I get just onto the liner, and then I'm going to wind the black chenille on. I keep it on the card just for saves waste, so get it started there and wind down towards till you get onto the liner basically, and then you can tie it off there and bring your rib up. So, a couple of turns. Right, so that's me, just onto the thread base on your liner, and focus this camera again, that's it, and get a couple or 3 turns over the top. When you're happy that it's secure, trim it away, and your next part will be to bring your holographic rib up. Now twist this, because it makes it very, very strong, so twist it into a rope. It makes it very, very, very tight and very strong, but keep the tension on it while you're winding it. So that's 1 turn, 2 turns, and 3 turns. And again, tie it in on the liner itself. And get a few turns in so it doesn't unravel on you. And when you're happy it's secure, nip it off. Nip the waste off. At this point I'm going to use a blue dyed badger hackle at the front here, because this is a Kinermoney killer. Usually has an orange hackle in below it, but for this I'm just going to tie in the blue. So catch a fairly long fibred badger hackle in, dyed as a silver Dr. Blue, and start the fold with the back of your scissors. Fold your hackle on. It's 3 turns, that's 3 and a bit, and then tie your stock down 3 or 4 turns when you're happy. Trim away your waist so something looks like that, and all we're going to do now is put a comb on it. So I'd imagine a red comb might suit it. this packet of cones. This is a TubeWorks cone, and it's a regular small in red, so it looks a bit small actually. This is a medium. This nearly looks too big. No, I would say that's the better of the two sizes, so that's actually a medium that I've put on. So just take it off, a wee bit of glue on your thread, a couple of turns and a whip finish. So there's your wee bit of glue, 3 or 4 turns, and then straighten and whip finish. 2, 3, 4, 5. Trim away your waste piece of thread and slip your cone on. Loosen the tube fly tool and pull it out of the vise. So that's I'm going to trim these stalks at the back because there's still some fibres on them. So I'll just trim them at that's what you're left with there. All you need to do now is trim your liner and burr the end of it. So trim it and leave about 2 mil, and then take your lighter burr the end and just touch it with a slightly wet finger and then push it back onto your needle. That makes sure that the hole is clear. So I'm just going to zoom out a wee bit to let you see this. So that's your basically a franc and snaelda tied in a kinermoney colours with a cone head. Thanks very much for watching.